So one of the major new tools in Angel 7.4 are the grading rubrics, and I can access those on the Manage tab. At the bottom of the data management components here, there is a new rubric manager tool, and if I've already created some rubrics, I'll see those listed there. By default, I won't probably see any unless my institution has created some example ones to be shared across the entire institution. But if I'm going to use these rubrics, they can be used with Dropboxes or manually graded essay questions in assessments, for example. And what they do is they allow me to easily share with the student a breakout of why they got a certain score based on the criteria for that assignment and the student's success or lack of success with those criteria. So before we get into actually creating one, let me show you one that's in place right now. For this Vision Dropbox assignment here, when the student goes and clicks on it to make a Dropbox submission, they can see before they get to making their posting, they can see this grading rubric, which will tell them what the 5 criteria are for the assignment, how it's graded, and then varying examples of achievement levels for those. So this particular reflection piece, the structure of their ideas, different examples of how well they or poorly they might do, and how many points it would be worth to them to get there. And notice they can print this out before they go and do their work. When you, the instructor, get to grading, you can click on a Dropbox submission, and you can still give feedback like you did in the past here, and you can still manually enter the score in, or you can use this grading rubric. And so, well, I've got Joe's work open. I could click through and I can choose different levels of achievement, and notice it's automatically filling in the points for those criteria there. And if I hit save, then the rubric score is going to be applied to the grades. Now I can also, if I decided that there's 27 points for this criteria or 16.2 for that one, and there's some compelling reason for why that student should get more or less, I can manually go in and change those scores too. I don't have to be stuck with what the rubric is, and I also don't have to use the rubric at all. I can just come in here and still manually enter the score. So I could choose, say like 55 points instead of using the rubric. So that's, and then when the student goes and sees their work, they'll see their grade, any remarks that you've made, and they'll also be able to open the copy of the rubric that you filled out for them specifically. Okay, so I'm able to use it with this Dropbox assignment because in the settings for the Dropbox, I have on the assignment tab, I've got, I can have my my Dropbox assignment settings here, how many points is it worth in the gradebook and what is the assignment called and all that. But then I also have chosen to use a specific grading rubric there. And I can choose whether or not the students will see the rubric before or after, or neither or both, before or after submission. Okay, so notice I also have I can use a supplementary rubric there as well. Okay, so to create these or to edit these, I go back to the Manage tab, and if I wanted to create a new one, I could click on the add link here, create a new rubric, or I can copy an existing one, or I can link to one that's somewhere else. So if I have a rubric existing in a repository somewhere and I want to link to it, I can do that. And then if there are a group of us that work to maintain or update a rubric, we could keep it in a repository and make changes to it there and have it propagate out to the different courses. But I'm going to just create a new one, and then it's going to want to know the name of the rubric, how many columns do I want, what percentage. So I'm going to say high to low, and I'll just go with these default percentage values here and call this and then how many rows. So I've got how many columns, how many rows, and what do I want to call the columns and the rows. And then I can go in here and I can actually edit each one of these cells and give a text description. Now I've seen these go from very detailed to not very detailed. You know, you could just have, you know, nailed it, did pretty good, did awful, or you can have actual descriptions of, you know, based on this criteria, you hit these main things or you didn't hit these concepts. And then I have to fill all those in, and then I can save it. Okay, and so now I have this video example rubric, and I could, if I wanted to, go to my week 1 folder here to my Dropbox assignment, and I could change the assignment settings to the video example rubric. Okay, and now when I go to grade the submissions, the rubric that I would see would be the one that I created there.